I think this is probably not a huge thing, but I'm wondering if you could just tell us, I mean, how much when you move from one quarterback to another, I mean, Phillips, your starting quarterback if the season started today. So how much, especially not having this offseason, does that matter much at all? And what sort of ground would you guys have to make up in terms of that quarterback center relationship?
Yeah, it's huge. When I first got here working with Andrew, I got thrown in day one to a guy who knew cadences like the back of his hand. He had, a whole playbook full of them. And so you're kind of scrambling at that time to figure out, all right, how's this guy call the cadence? What's his preference? And so obviously working with Jacoby throughout the years too, you just kind of get adapted to that over time. And that's kind of the hard part about this whole Corona thing is not being able to get out there and get live reps with, his certain cadences that he likes to do. And so I think what we've done so well is that, Frank and Nick and all the guys on the offensive side have really got us going in the fact that, we're going to try to figure out the best we can how to get, live reps on Zoom. And that's what we've been doing the last couple of days. And so I think that's really been helping a lot. Obviously Phil's got a very different verbal cadence than what I'm used to, but that's football, man. That's the way it is. We're getting paid as professionals to figure it out. So, there's going to be some learning curve for sure. But, as soon as we can get out on the field or even if it's just Phil and I sitting down, running through a few things, I think it's going to really help out.
Wait, just to clarify, does that include actually calling out the play call and all that when you say verbal reps or virtual reps or whatever?
Yeah, and so basically what we do is we just go through, all right, here. So they basically give Phil the play call, and he'll just say, all right, we're in the huddle. Here's the formation, here's a play, here's the cadence, and then we go to the line of scrimmage and we'll cut to a play, and we'll kind of run through it the best that we can. We're doing everything that we can to get live reps. If you visualize it enough, I think it'll come over time to get used to it. So, as far as down to the cadence and his presence in the huddle, it's obviously going to be paramount that we get that down. And I think we're doing a good job.
Okay, George Bremer.
Brian, thanks for doing this. Has there been any talks about an extension? Have you guys gone down that road at all? I know this is the last year in your rookie deal.
Yeah. My agent, Jimmy Sexton, I know he's had a few conversations with Chris so far. I don't know if any numbers have been thrown around yet, but obviously I have the most, confidence in Chris that, I think we got something special in our offensive line. So, I'd like to play my entire career in Indianapolis. And I truly believe that, I'll be here for a while, I hope. And so just, trying to keep my mind on working out and getting ready for the season. So that's kind of been where my head's at so far.
Hey, Ryan, you mentioned something special on the O-line. Bringing back Anthony Costanzo has all five of you again. I wonder, were you in his ear at all during the time when he was trying to make a decision? And just what have you spoken to him since his decision to come back?
Well, I think we all were, I think Quentin was a huge advocate too. They played on the left side together. And obviously Anthony and I have grown our relationship over the past 4 years. And it would have been, it would really hurt to lose a player like him, not just a player, but such an incredible teammate, having a guy like that, a 10-year vet in the offensive line room is so crucial. And so, I think, but, ultimately, you see some guys retiring early. I think Travis Frederick just pulled the trigger after 7 years. And so, it really depends on every guy's situation. So, obviously, if he was to walk away, hey, man, you had a hell of a career. Best of luck in retirement. And, we'll keep moving. So that's the crazy thing about the NFL is, guys come and go so quickly. You got to make it work. But obviously having 74 in the left tackle position is obviously going to give us the best, edge to win games. And I couldn't be happier he's back.
All right, Phil B.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for doing this. You're coming off your first Pro Bowl. I'm wondering your personal to-do list, if you will. What do you think you need to focus on to get better?
Yeah, it's every year's a new challenge. You can't just leave where you left off, the last game of the season. You got to totally invent yourself. And so for me, having a few injuries earlier in my career and still dealing with a few things, for me, it's about how can I stay on the field as much as possible. We were able to start all 16 games as an offensive line this year, and it'd be incredible to do that next year as well. And so the thing for me is how do I stay on the field? So whether that's, changing my nutrition and making sure that, all my joints and everything are moving the way I want to, so that, late November, December, I still feel as what I did, week one. And so obviously there's certain aspects of my game that I want to improve on. Consistency is always so big, the NFL is always changing, and how can you carry over practice to games? And so you just find little details, even at home, having a home gym. People can have a lot of excuses for not being ready for the season, but trying to get my body in the best physical shape it can be. And, also the best mental frame. I mean, I think the season will wear on you no matter what, no matter who you are, how successful your team is, but having that, outlook for success and how long you want to play and what kind of career you want to put together. So obviously I think I'm moving in the right direction, but a lot of work to do still.
Thank you, Ryan.
Mike Wells.
Hey, Ryan, I know you touched on the whole trying to get the relationship with Philip but just can you talk as a whole how challenging this whole situation has been? I obviously this is kind of a first time for everybody from learning things with the meetings and then also with the working outside. How challenging has that been for you as a player, or has it been challenging at all?
Honestly, I love having it. Obviously, if I had the preference, I would be in the complex every day, just, being around the guys. That's the hardest part, is missing those guys. And, it's honestly a mental test to get up every single day and work out by yourself. How far can you push it just by yourself, and how good do you want to be? So I really like that we have, the certain set meetings that we have. I know a lot of teams aren't doing it. They're just, hey, we'll see you at training camp. But for me, this gives me a routine. I mean, I feel like NFL players and football players in general, our whole schedules have been routine our entire life up to the minute. And so I feel like we really need this, and just because we're doing virtual install doesn't mean you can't get better. You can't ask questions. You can't learn something new. And just seeing old film from last year and the cut-ups that we have, it just really brings out, some certain flaws in people's games, and especially mine. I think there's certain things I need to get better at. And I think it implements those into our games. And I know there's not a lot of guys here in Indianapolis right now, but trying to get together with guys, trying to work out, do what we can and make no excuses about it.
Do you guys do any, to follow up on that, as far as the working out, I know you guys are a close group on the O-line. Do you guys have any type of challenges and kind of competition when it comes to working out to kind of one-up each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now it's Braden Smith, Mark Lewinsky, and I are the only ones here. But, we did borrow a few things from the complex. We had to pull some strings to get those, to let us have them, and some bags and stuff like that. And it's just crazy to think about how fast you get out of football shape. Being in workout shape and being in football shape is totally different. So to be, getting in your stance and hitting combos together and just be able to punch and do these things, I think it's just going to give us a leg up. But, calling the guys, just calling and checking in, making sure that we're all working out. And from what I see on Zoom, everybody's, been grinding, and that's obviously a good sign.
Mike Chappell.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm curious. I'm sure you paid attention when the Colts draft Taylor, the running back, and they made even a stronger emphasis on the running game. What does that say to the offensive line, and what challenge does that give you guys?
I mean, I think it's great. Obviously, when we look back at some of the cut-ups the past 3 or 4 weeks, I think we saw, in the Kansas City game, that really kind of set the bar for us. And even week 1, we ran the ball over 200 yards, how good we could be. And then you see the clips on there where we left some yards in the field. In a 200-yard game, we could have had 250 or 275. And I think it just gives you a lot more energy, to what the future holds. Obviously, excited about the running back. It just like every other class, they're always going to draft, 6-7 guys. They're going to bring a bunch of free agents in. I think the message to those guys is, look, as a rookie, you got to put your head down, man. That's what everybody does. Put your head down, you work, you grind, and, let the cards fall where they may. But I think they're just going to get every chance to run the ball. It just, and we do such a good job as a team of making sure that everybody's involved in the run game. It's not just the running back that we drafted, if he plays or not. It's not just about the 5 offensive linemen to start every 16 games. I mean, it's the receivers, the stuff you don't see, those guys digging out corners and making those long Marlin runs, go. Those are ultimately the vital points. And I think the bigger picture is how well our coaching staff brings everybody involved. The run game doesn't involve the offensive line. I mean, it is truly 11 guys out there to make it work. And you obviously see, the fruits of our labor, later in the season when you're wearing a team down like that, and they just don't want any part of it.
Quick follow-up. Have you considered, who knows what's going to happen training camp of the season, have you thought about maybe playing games with no fans, what that might be like?
Yeah, I mean, look, I got a ton of buddies that, have season tickets to Cincinnati Bengals or wherever it is, and they've been hitting me up, hey, man, you think you're going to have fans? I'm like, look, I know as much as you guys know, so I know IndyCar or NASCAR, whoever they had, they didn't have any fans in theirs, and they still went out there and did their job, and that's what if that's what it comes down to, that's what it takes. That's what we're gonna do. It's crazy. As loud as the stadium gets, sometimes it doesn't even affect you. You're so focused on your job, and I think that we're just taking it one day at a time. So if there's fans there, love them. I love playing at Lucas Oil. It's an incredible atmosphere. If there's not, hey, I know they're gonna be watching us on the field. So either way, we're gonna be rolling.
All right, Zach Kiefer.
What's up, Ryan?
What's up, man?
So after the 18th season, I think it was pretty clear where this team was going after the loss to the Chiefs in the playoffs. Go back to last year. What did last season teach you? What was the lesson from last season now that the dust has settled?
I felt like sometimes we were playing, to not lose. And that's easy to say as you look back at the season because the NFL season's hard, man. I mean, it's a grind for every single person, coaches, players, families. It's all really tough. And so I guess that's kind of been Frank's message, the past couple of weeks is, I guess it's how you look at the game. It wasn't that we weren't giving incredible effort or that we didn't play with technique and that we weren't finishing. It's just in certain situations, I feel like we were just playing to not lose, just playing to win. Whether that's, I don't know what the case is. I don't know what brings that or what breeds that, but I think that we have a special locker room. I think we got some really special guys in there. And I think that the seeds that we planted last year, especially on the offensive side, and as a whole team, just the character that we have will really, propel us into this season, but every year is different. We had a tough season this year and just take it day by one and just play as hard as we can.
Okay, we got time for two more. Kevin Bowen.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for doing this. But what were your impressions of Phillip Rivers from afar, prior to him signing here and, obviously in a virtual sense, but has there been anything that has surprised you about getting to know him over the past few weeks?
That's pretty easy. I mean, I've got a lot of guys that I know that have played out in San Diego or with him in the Chargers at some level. And as soon as he signed, my phone was blowing up. Like, dude, you're going to love him. He's a great guy, great teammate. Incredibly smart player, and obviously you don't play this long at such a high level in this league without being a smart player and knowing certain defenses and how to be successful. So in just the little interaction that we've had, via Zoom or text message, he just seems like he's all in, and that's an incredible feeling to have as a guy who's willing to come in, change his habits, to a certain extent, but also bring some different knowledge. It's always good to have some outside knowledge and some different perspective on the game. To come in and excel. And so we're really excited to have him, an incredible career with the Chargers and looking forward to the future.
All right. And last one, Joel Erickson.
Hey, Ryan. You mentioned earlier that one of the big things for you is just staying healthy through 16 games. Is there anything that you've learned in these first couple of years in the NFL that maybe you've changed about the way you prepare just specifically to stay healthy that's worked and helped you play 16 last year? Yeah.
Obviously our medical staff is incredible. They do a great job of making sure that every injury we do have that, there's a way to fix it, and we have great doctors. I think that just knowing outside people, the normal person, when they go to get an MRI, it's like a 10-step process. We can get there the next day. And I think that's probably a little bit overlooked sometimes is how well, we're taken care of. But, the strength staff, Rusty Jones and Rich and all those guys, sometimes I've had knee problems in the past and, Rusty's trying to figure out, where's that coming from? Might be coming from like your back or your hips or whatever. And so it really just allows you to, play pain-free throughout the week and then go into the game feeling great. So really changed a lot of my diet stuff and it helped me, tremendously, from the first 2 years to the second. So really excited about that and just, trying new things, man. It's an ever-evolving game. And as you get older, I'll be 27 this next season. And it doesn't seem that old, but it's a lot of wear and tear on your body. So you just got to maintain it and do the best you can. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to staying healthy.